I don't answer questions.
Okay, I don't really know how to respond to that, sir.
You bastard.
Bastard.
You either fight me or you lose your teeth.
Find me up, use your teeth.
Captain Awesome.
Hey guys, Rogue Nation here with you this morning, and we're going to go over court documents I just received in the mail. Filed last week, 10/16, just the day before we left for Audit Palooza. So I just got this in the mail when I returned home. Figured I'd do a video on it for you folks. Alright guys, so we're going to go through this. This is just a report and recommendation from the magistrate judge to the district judge. Sometimes they accept them, sometimes they don't. But in this case, I got a strong suspicion they're going to accept them. We're going to go through this. Okay, it's only 9 pages, filed 10/16. That's me versus City of Easley. Here's the case number if anybody so wishes. I did blow it up so everybody can read it, but if you need, you can email me and I'll send you a copy. It says this matters before the court on the City of Easley's motion to dismiss. There's the background and factual allegations, which by now most of you already know. Easley filed or enacted an ordinance that, let's see here, ordinance recognizes that city employees and business visitors have a legitimate privacy interest in not being recorded without their consent, and therefore bans the unconsented recording of city employees and citizens conducting business with the city. So, and of course, we all know if you're in a public setting, there is no expectation of privacy. Literally no expectation of privacy when you're standing in a public lobby discussing whatever with a public employee and there's 30 other citizens around you. There's no legitimate privacy interest. It says the ordinance further provides that the unconsented recording of and refusal to stop recording city employees and or citizens conducting legitimate business is considered a disruption of city business. The ordinance clarifies, though, that it is neither intended to prohibit citizens from coming onto city property to conduct legitimate business, which news gathering is legitimate business, nor is it meant to restrict speech, emphasizing that it does not target any viewpoint, ideology, or opinion. Alright, so it says here that the mayor can separate public and non-public, yada 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 yada. So, in this action, I challenge the constitutionality of the ordinance on First Amendment grounds. Metz describes himself as an independent investigative journalist who focuses on government accountability. Metz alleges that the city enacted the ordinance in response to his reporting on the mayor and his activities, which is absolutely 100% true. He asserts that the ordinance restricts his rights as a member of the free press to gather information on public employees in the course of their duties, and claims that he would still work on and report stories from Easley, South Carolina, if not for his rights being chilled. And that's absolutely correct. We had a big fish on the hook there in Easley, Butch Womack, corrupt politician. He's since been ousted in the recent election they had there last year. So he's no longer mayor there, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done there in regards to his reign of terror. So it goes on to state that Metz further states that he has no issue declaring his intent to violate the ordinance, and alleges that the city has already enforced the ordinance on another journalist. A few of you might remember that the Benghazi Rabbit was arrested in Easley when he went into City Hall after he was outside protesting, and he just went in the city hall, I believe, to use the restroom or to rest, get a drink of water, something of that nature. And literally, I think he said within 30 seconds they had him down on the ground and was arresting him. Had nothing to do with consenting people or non-consenting people. See, they tried to enact the law under that guise, but as soon as you come in that building recording, you're going to get taken down, just like the Benghazi rabbit was. So they're already misusing the ordinance. And we'll get into that if they push it further. We'll request the lobby video of that and discovery. I mean, we're gonna get to it. It says for relief he seeks $1 million in damages and a declaration that the part of the law dealing with consent in public places is unconstitutional. After the district court granted Metz and former pauper status, magistrate judge conducted initial review. Magistrate judge issued a recommendation and report recommending the district court dismiss Metz's amended complaint. The district court declined to adopt that report and recommendation, finding that Metz had adequately alleged standing and stated a plausible First Amendment claim. In so ruling, the district court noted that too much is unknown at this procedural posture and additional information is needed from the city to potentially resolve this matter. It says the city filed a motion to dismiss. It says it's ripe for review. You got your applicable laws and analysis, standard of review, yada yada yada. Again, you guys want to read this, you're more than welcome to stop it and pause it and check it out, or you can just email me for a copy, patriotdiscussions@gmail.com. Okay, and it says, moving to dismiss, the city argues that this case is not yet ripe, Metz lacks standing, and the ordinance does not violate the First Amendment. However, the district court has already held that Metz has both sufficiently alleged he has the requisite standing to bring this lawsuit and stated a plausible First Amendment violation. Accordingly, the undersigned sees no basis to reevaluate those arguments and will consider only the city's ripeness argument. The ripeness doctrine originates in the case or controversy constraint of Article 3. It concerns the appropriate timing of judicial intervention. Analyzing ripeness is similar to determining whether a party has standing. And much like standing, ripeness requirements are also relaxed in First Amendment cases. The primary reason for relaxing the ripeness analysis in the First Amendment context is the chilling effect that potentially unconstitutional burdens on free speech may occasion. To determine whether a case is ripe, courts evaluate the fitness of the issues for judicial decision, and 2, the hardship to the parties of withholding court consideration. Metz has pled sufficient facts to establish both prongs of the ripeness inquiry. First, this case is fit for judicial decision. The issue presented, whether the ordinance violates Metz First Amendment rights, is a purely legal one that is not dependent on future uncertainties. The issues in this First Amendment challenge are fit for judicial decision at this time. They are purely legal, and the South Carolina Ethics Act is final. Second, withholding judicial review could impose hardship on Metz, who has alleged that he wishes to engage in speech prohibited by the ordinance, but has refrained from doing so for fear of prosecution. Here's a footnote here that's interesting. At one point in its motion, the city seems to contend that the ordinance does not implicate the First Amendment at all because it regulates conduct rather than speech. The First Amendment, however, safeguards the right to gather information as a predicate to speech. Indeed, the right to publish a recording would be largely ineffective if the act of making the recording is wholly unprotected. For these reasons, Metz's First Amendment challenge to the ordinance is ripe for adjudication. Based on the foregoing, the undersigned recommends that the District Court deny the city's motion to dismiss, or in the alternative, for judgment on the pleadings. William S. Brown, United States Magistrate Judge. So there you have it, guys. The Magistrate Judge, which I do want to point out is different, I believe, than the Magistrate Judge at the beginning of this case that also tried to deny my standing and was rebuked by the District Court Judge. This is a new Magistrate Judge, I do believe, on this case now. And I do believe this is the correct ruling because, again, as he stated, the District Court Judge has already decided that I do have standing and I do have a valid First Amendment claim. So their motion to dismiss saying I didn't have standing and didn't have a motion to dismiss, or excuse me, didn't have a claim, is already bogus. So we already know that. So, alright guys, again, if you need this or want this to check out yourself, email me. I'll be happy to get it to you. Other than that, we'll check you on the next one. We got some more information on the lawsuits coming up. And we've got some more audits from Pensacola coming out. Plus we got some other stories we'll be working on. So, we'll be seeing you guys on the next one. Because there's always going to be a next one.
You keep lying when you ought to be truthing, and you keep losing when you ought to not bet. You keep saying when